afternoon or evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. There was a magnitude 4.3 off the coast of France. Originally, USGS wasn't reporting this earthquake, but it got me looking into other details about fault lines and things like that in this location. EMSC had quite a few reports that was sent into them. I'm not going to translate these, but here you can see it was probably 4 to 5 seconds of movement. A pendulum was swinging for about 1 to 2 seconds. This report here says they were sitting on the sofa and it started to move a little by itself, and then I understood it was an earthquake. Then we got, let's see, another one. I'm not gonna try and pronounce the name, but it was quite a ways away, 78 kilometers northwest, so that would be about 48 miles. Another one farther said their chair vibrated, doors were rattling. Another one said they felt their chair slightly moving under them, and the door of the wardrobe was moving and making noises for several seconds. So during my search for the different fault lines, this is really an active area. Ligurian fault system. I ran across a man-made tsunami that occurred in 1979 there in Nice. I'm sure some of you probably heard about the missile, the undersea missile that Russia has developed that could create also a huge tsunami. But this one here was actually created by construction that was going on at the airport. I found a document that showed the areas drawn out in black that was inundated by this tsunami. Yeah, I don't know exactly where this is, but I do have Laceris Beach. I have that marked out on my map. They also have here an image of the Undersea Landslide. Part of their construction there at the airport collapsed into the sea, and it escalated from there. I don't know how well you can see this, but this is the wave of the tsunami that it created. Yeah, you might be able to see this better. It says here maximum elevation. The green frame shows the extent of the bottom map. Red frame indicates the boundaries in smaller grid. Nice Airport, St. Laurent. Yeah. And I believe this is the two different areas of debris field, the undersea debris field. So we have two different names for this area. We got the Ligurian Sea. It is one of the most tsunamic. In brief, what it means is an area that has some very large tsunamis in the northern area of the Mediterranean Sea. Two of the tsunamis that have occurred there are suspected to have been earthquake-induced, 1887, and that is that one right there, created a tsunami. Now that was from an earthquake, and then there was another one in 1564, which I don't have it drawn out. Some other tsunamis have been related to submarine landslides, undersea slope failures for different reasons, and this one was caused by construction. On October 16th, 1979, a tsunami of a local origin hit the French Riviera around Nice, France, killing 8 people. Well, there's other reports that there was 10 that was killed. Because of this tsunami, there was a lot of economic losses. It extended from Hyères to Menton, France. The main effect of the tsunami was flooding in the neighborhood of La Cille and La Roupe there in France. That's over here. It all started over here by the undersea Var Canyon, and this is why I wish Google Earth used to show these underwater canyons, but they don't show it anymore. But it was formed by the Var River right here, and you can see this is where they got the airport. So for some reason, a bunch of debris, when they're working on the construction of the airport, the runways, fell off and created a huge undersea landslide. It involved about 9 million meters, or 2,377,5,048 plus gallons of material that caused a tsunami wave of about 3 meters, which would be about 9 feet 10 inches, that damaged part of the work to extend the airport of Nice, and it killed 10 people. So they were making these runways longer, and subsequently created an undersea landslide and tsunami. I wonder who paid for that. I wonder if they were pushing rubble into this area to build up more land to make the runways longer. That's a possibility. I couldn't find information about that. Years later, they came in and they took testimonies from different people, and they found out that the run-up of the tsunamis reached 3.5 meters or 11.6 feet locally, with the maximum distance that the tsunami went inland. Let me come down over here, because this is the area that was greatly inundated from that tsunami. The run-up was about 150 meters or 490 feet inland. It's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, 10 lives lost, but that's not, an economic loss, for the businesses and homes and maybe the boats that were in the harbor. I don't know. But that wasn't just the only damage that was caused by this undersea landslide. 2 submarine communication cables were also damaged. The first one was about 54 miles away from the slide location. So I have that drawn out in red. That's the first cable somewhere out here that broke. And then a second one, which was about 70 miles further out. So somewhere over here. Let me move this. 2 cables were stretched and snapped. So the first cable was 87 kilometers or 57 miles away from the slide location, and then the second one was 114 kilometers or 70 miles from the slide location. The cables were broke by the stretching caused by the turbidity current that followed the slide, indicating an average front speed of 5 meters or 16.5 feet per second during the first 5 hours and 2 minutes during the next 4 hours. In that, debris was probably boulders and gravel and sand and all the sediment that had gathered up in this location in the eons. The main mass of the sediment that flowed over about 5 kilometers or 3 miles downhill from the source had reached Var Canyon and flowed over more than 7 kilometers, 4.3 miles. At the estimated velocity of the slide was to be about 10 meters per second or 33 feet during the first few minutes of the slide. The results from simulations that they did. Yeah, and that's how they came up with how fast the slide was moving. Now, interestingly, the Var River, which created this undersea canyon, there's no continental shelf out there. It's a canyon that was cut in the ocean many eons ago. An example, during the last glacial maximum, about 18, maybe 12,000 years ago, 25,000 years ago, sea levels in this area were 430 feet lower than what they are now. So the river, actually probably extended farther out and slowly, made this canyon as it moved along. Sea levels now are much higher, 430 feet higher than what they were back then. Interesting too, what they call the Gulf of Lions here. This area has the highest density of submarine canyons in the world, with 3 to 4 canyons per 100 kilometers, or 60 miles. So I suppose you can move the little yellow line anywhere along here, but there is 3 to 4 huge canyons within 60 miles of this area. They have no tsunami warning whatsoever that I could find here in the Mediterranean Sea. The economic loss from this man-made tsunami was in the millions of dollars. You know, they do have earthquake stations, and there is tidal gauge stations, but they don't transmit, like if there was a rise in water suddenly, they don't transmit that information in real time. I don't know why. I was working on this for several days, marking out different earthquakes that caused tsunamis here in the Mediterranean, and it was surprising how many of them they had that did, create tsunamis. Most of them were down over here by let me see here if I could find one. Okay, in 365 AD, there was a 8.5 earthquake that created a tsunami. And then in 1303, I'm just looking at them as I'm talking, there was an 8.0 with the tsunami. All right, 2017, a 6.6 with the tsunami. This one here, there was a double earthquake back to back. In 1957, a 7.1 and a 7.3. Because I was working on the area of Turkey and large earthquakes, I basically only have it in that location. But let's see, in 115 AD, there was a 7.5 with the tsunami. 2020, a 7.0 with the tsunami. 1881, a 6.1 with the tsunami. Let me bring this out. They're off the southern side of, I think that's Italy. No, southern side of, Greece? I don't know. There was more earthquakes and tsunamis. Yeah, I'm going to have to extend my map. Now, I do know somewhere over here, I don't have it marked out, down by the opening of the Mediterranean Sea, there was another earthquake and subsequent tsunami. So it's hard to believe that they don't have a tsunami warning system in this day and age, or even tide gauges that are in real time. So I thought that was interesting how a man-made construction for an airport actually caused millions of dollars in damage and the loss of 10 lives, probably because they were dumping material into the ocean here, or the Mediterranean Sea, to extend the airport. How many of you remember that 1979 tsunami? Put your comments down below. It's really hard to find information. What are your thoughts? Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.